Alright, and we are back. Today we're going to be comparing the differences between Killjoy and Cypher and which one we think you should pick if you're playing Haven. Without further ado, let's get right into it. First, I'll be discussing the differences, as you can obviously tell. First things first, we'll discuss the obvious differences between the agents. For Flank, Cypher has trips, and for Killjoy, obviously she has her turret and alarm bot. Something that differentiates Cypher from Killjoy is the fact that he has cages, which actually are able to block off a viewpoint, which is something that Killjoy very much lacks in. And the fact that Cypher actually has visual information rather than just audio information. Obviously, the ult, I believe that Killjoy's is better depending on scenario, but Cypher, they both give information, but, you know, Killjoy's is more of a get out of the sight type of ult, and Cypher's is more of a let's work around the map type of ult. Something that's very important that you can do with Cypher that you can't do with Killjoy is something along the lines of kill trips. Placing trips like this, yes, I know the trips got nerfed, but at the same time, they still essentially do the same exact thing. It just might take another second for it to periodically expose the character. But the ability to have a character who gives visual information with a trip is very crucial. Let's use this A long trip, for instance. If a player were to walk into it,
Cage trick found you. Okay.
The ability to get a kill like this almost for free is insane. This is something you cannot do with Killjoy because you have to expose yourself to see what the character is. Now that we covered the basics of Cypher's trips, what we can explain is his cage. A lot of people just like to think that it's basically like a smoke, but what it really is it cancels out information for the enemy team. If you're attacking on Haven and you're going towards the A site, what you want to do is you want to stand here in this corner and throw the cage right here above the choke. What this does is it cancels out information towards any player who likes to play long. And the A lobby information is very essential for a defending team. The ability to cancel out all of that information with just one cage, that grants your team a lot of map space. And if you were to combo your cage, you can walk all the way up short, place this camera here, and now you also have all the information towards A short. Obviously it's only deep short, you can place your camera in a different location if you want more information, but what this does is make sure that no enemies are able to get closer to your spawn, and you have this space still with knowledge. For instance, a really good camera to use is right here on top of these boxes outside a garage. You're able to place this camera like this in the start of the round. And what you do is you have garage info and you have info if anyone's walking down mid.
My camera is destroyed.
For instance, Killjoy's turret is really good information, but it's not direct information like a Cypher trip would be. Let's say if somebody's pushing C long and you have a trip right in the choke right here. The player would hit the trip and you know exactly where they are. But for instance, if you're Killjoy, you place your turret right around here. This turret essentially watches the C-long flank, but not all of the flank. But also, at the same time, it's also watching the garage push. So let's say that somebody pushes out garage. This player here is now exposed from this turret, but we, if we are towards A, don't know if it's coming from bottom mid or if it's coming towards C-long. One thing that Killjoy has that Cypher doesn't is you're actually able to stop the plant interaction, whether that's planting or defusing the spike. For instance, if somebody was planting on C site,
placing swarm grenade. Swarm grenade out.
now they either have the choice to get off the spike and or die to your molly. For instance, another thing that Cypher can do that Killjoy can't is actually, talking about the cages, as if we said before, they're basically smokes, you're able to place one-way cages. If we use A long on Haven, for instance, we can stand here and throw a cage right towards this pillar, and then this cage will act as if a one-way. So if we pop it,
Cage triggered.
and back to Killjoy for one final time, the most important thing that Killjoy has that Cypher doesn't have is her ultimate. Her ult being able to lock down a specific location and basically clear everybody off site and or use a really good post plant is a lot better than Cypher's utility. So let's say we're A short on Haven, for instance, we throw the ult right in this corner.
Initiated. My ultimate is ready.
Now anybody in this vicinity will either be detained and or pushed out of this area. And if this guy's detained, he should be a free kill. That pretty much sums up the basics of Killjoy vs. Cypher. If you want a full in-depth guide on Cypher or Killjoy on any specific map, be sure to comment that down below and we'll get right on that. If you want a full Cypher one-way guide, we could definitely bring that out as well. Same thing with the best Killjoy ult spots. But to sum it up, it's basically visual information over audio information. It really depends on which one you feel more comfortable playing. If you want to see the enemies on flank or on your camera, then you would go towards Cypher. But if you want to hear the enemies or use your mollies to stop the plants, stop the chokes, then you definitely want to lean towards Killjoy. Just keep in mind though, if you are playing Killjoy, you have to be within a certain radius of your equipment in order for it to be online. So if you like to lurk a lot, I think you might want to lean more towards the Cypher side. Other than that, I've been Chris or Cookie, otherwise known as CG Cock. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Peace, peace.